Okay, so in this second video today, we're going to focus mainly on the gradebook. I'm going to show you how to set up your gradebook in PowerTeacher Pro for the beginning of the year, and then how to update it throughout the year, adding grades in. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click on the icon, PowerTeacher Pro, that's below the class, your classes. You can click on any of them, they'll all bring you to the same place, but I'm going to use my advisory again as our sample. So when we get here, you'll notice I already started creating a test assignment as I was preparing for this video. But what you can do is, if we look at the score sheet, you can see your list of student names. And eventually what you'll see is you'll have all of your assignments listed here on the right-hand side, and their grade will also be listed here in this middle column. So for now, what I want to focus on is how do we set up our gradebook at the beginning of the year. So within your department, there will be some discussion, and usually we have standardized systems of whether you're going to want to do a total point system or a percentages system. In my department, in the past, we've done percentages. So say homework is worth maybe 10% of the grade, lab reports are worth 50% of the grade, and so forth. In the last few years, we've been using a total point system. So instead, I might have a small assignment that's worth 5 points, and then a larger test or a lab report might be worth 50 points. Again, that's something that as a department, you will likely standardize. So at the beginning of the year, what you'll have to do is you'll have to set up your grading scales. So the first thing that you can do is, if you go into this create category, if I view all, these are all of the categories that I use in my class. I have assessments, I have projects/lab reports, and I have independent work. This test category is one that I made as I was preparing for our video here. I'll just show you how to create that. So if you have another category that you'd like to have, sometimes people might have, you might have a homework, or if you want to call it classwork, if you want to call it something different, you can create whatever categories you want. And so I'm going to do another testing here just to have something. And then you can select all the classes that you want it to be for. So I'm only going to do this for advisory because I don't want to mess with any of my grades for this year. But you can click on all of the other classes and do this all at once. So then what you're going to do is you're going to want to make sure that it's active. You can change the color of it so that each category has its own color. And then you can press save, and then it's going to be there. So once you have the categories that you want, what you're going to want to do is you're going to go to this settings, and you're going to go to traditional grades calculations. So you'll see again that I have this set up as total points, so that's what is already there. Normally, you would be able to edit all of these, but because I'm making this video so late in the year, right now the only thing that can be edited is quarter 4. Quarters 1, 2, and 3 are already finalized because their dates have passed. So what we would do is we're going to, and also I will explain these B4, B3 categories in a moment. Right now we're just focusing on the Q, the quarter 4. So you're going to want to press edit. And then you can decide if you want to do category weighting instead. You can put that in. Again, I have total points, so there's not a lot I have to do. I just have to click total points. Everything is weighted the same then, 1, and that's all I have to save. If you want to change this to category weighting, then you could click on your different options here, and you could weight things. So maybe you want your assessments to be worth 60%, so we're going to do 0.6, and then we're going to add another category weight, projects and labs. Those are going to be worth 40%. So now I have set up my grade book, if these are only 2 categories, so that it equals up to 100%. We have category, we have assessments are worth 60% and projects and labs are worth 40%. You also do have this option that you can drop the lowest score if you want. I've done that sometimes in the past, that maybe you drop the lowest homework grade or classwork grade. So that would be, and you can create extra, you can put more categories in if you want to, and continue with that. So what you would then want to do, I'm going to discard the changes. What you would then have to do, and this is where it gets a little bit repetitive sometimes, is you have to copy this at the beginning of the year to all of your reporting categories. So you're going to set this up for quarter one, for Q1, but then you have to copy it to Q2, Q3, and Q4 so that it's all there for you for the year. What you would want to do in order to get that is, you click here. Yep, you click on this little settings here, and you're going to copy traditional grade calculations. First, you're going to want to copy it within a class, and you're going to want to go from which class. So we're using advisory, so I'm going to do that. And maybe I want to, it's locked because it's earlier in the year, but you're going to want to copy it for Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. The other thing that you do then is you can copy it for your other classes. So if you're teaching the same thing for all 5 class periods, you're probably going to want your the same grading scale for each of those classes. And so again, once you set it up in one of your classes, you can copy it to your other classes. And what I like to do at the end is, once I've gone through this, I like to then go through and look at each of my classes and make sure that they're all set up the same way. Okay, you would be able to see that they're all set up just to be sure about it. But in summary, what I would say is, first you're going to want to edit. You can't see it on this one. You're going to want to edit and set up either total points or categories, and then you're going to want to go to the settings here and copy it to all 4 of your categories, all 4 of your quarters, and to each of your classes. It does take a little bit of practice, and oftentimes you'll see even I do it as I'm clicking. Sometimes I end up in the wrong place and I have to click around until I find what I need. But after you've done it a few times, it does become it becomes a lot easier. So once your gradebook is set up for the year, then it's set up. That's it. You don't have to change any of that for the year. What I want to show you now is how you're going to start putting grades in once the year starts. So again, I'm going to go back. I'm using my advisory as our tester here. So if I go to score sheet, you'll see that I already created this assignment. But if there wasn't something already there, what you do is you go to create assignment. And I'm going to call this test number 1. When I do this, what I want to do is, again, you can copy this to other classes. So for example, if I teach the same class periods 2, 3, and 5, I might want to copy the assignment for periods 2, 3, and 5 so that I only have to make it one time, and then it will automatically show up in the next, in the other classes. I'm not going to do that here because I'm only focusing on my advisory for today. So then I'm going to go to my categories. I'm going to go to, this is going to be for the test category. I'm just making this up. You can, it automatically defaults to points for me because I am I'm total points. And then you can enter however many points you want it to be. So I usually go with the standard of like 5 for a small assignment. You can put those points in. You can add extra credit there if you want. You can also add a weight if you wanted to. That is up to you. Make sure that this is always checked, that it counts in the final grade, and you can change the date if you want to. You also can write a description of something. That's something that students and families will be able to see if they are looking at PowerSchool. So this is not some place that you're going to write information about individual students. This might be something like posted on Google Classroom as homework if you didn't finish in class. So again, it's just a little note that you would want to write for students to see. So then you're going to press save and close, and then you can score the assignment. So what you're going to do is you click on this empty space and you'll see my students' names. Once you've clicked on the space, you'll see this little toolbar dashboard come up. You can use your keyboard or you can click on the numbers. I'm going to go 5. Oops, I'm not going in the right place. Here it is. 5, 5. A couple of features. You can press fill, and this will automatically fill in everybody's assignment that is there. You also can put these different markings in. Again, this will be seen by students and families. So you might write missing or collected. Collected would be if you didn't put a score in, but you just pressed collected. So for example, something that maybe takes a long time for you to grade, you might want to put collected in so that students and families can see that you have it. It's just not graded yet. Late, exempt, absent, these are all different terms that you can put in. The other thing that you have is if you go to these codes, there are codes that we can use to input grades. The only one that I really use is I use NHI. NHI is not handed in, and it puts the score in, it puts it in as missing automatically, but it also, instead of it being a 0, it makes it a 50%, which is something as a school we tend to do. We, instead of putting zeros, which will really drop our score, the student scores, we put it in as a 50 instead. So you can put an NHI. Again, that's something I would talk to your team or your department about if you have questions so that you have a standardized system. So anyway, so we put our scores in. I'm just going to do this, type them all in, and then I'm going to press save. And now if I go to my score sheet, you'll see that all of my scores are there, and here are my students' grades, their percentage, and their letter grade. A couple of other things just to look at. If we go to this grading thing, we can see the assignment list. This is another way to view it. We can see all the assignments that are posted. And we can also look at individual student progress. So if I look at just this one student, it shows me his scores for that class. And I can go through and I can look at each individual student. So with grading, the big ideas are you're going to want to use this create button to create the assignments, and then you want to make sure that you're inputting the numbers correctly. Regularly, you'll want to look at kind of this score sheet view so that you can see all of the different information. Okay. In addition, in this on this page, if we look at the students here, again, we said that we can look at the students' grades for this class. In addition, you can see if you click on demographics, you'll be able to get some student information like some of their contact information and maybe grades for other classes. You also can print reports this way. So if we get student reports, I actually have to go into this reports category first. So if we go into this reports category, I can print a score sheet report where I get information about a score sheet. I also can here click individual student reports as well. So that is all of the information for kind of your day-to-day PowerTeacher usage. The final video I will make will be about specific to report cards and some of the final things that you can do for report cards. Oh, one last thing I'm just thinking of now as we go back to the assignments, you can put a comment in. So we could say completed together during learning lab. That comment will be visible to the student, but it won't be visible to the whole class, just that individual student on their interface. Okay, so again, you can put those comments in there. That's sometimes helpful. I use that if students are retaking a test or something that there's a reason that I just want to make note of something to keep that information. Okay. So again, that is kind of your day-to-day PowerSchool gradebook usage. And our final video will be about the report, what to do when report card time happens.